President Bola Tinubu transmits proposed fiscal policy and tax reform bills for consideration and passage to the National Assembly. Federal government partners Enugu State to boost micro, small and medium-scale enterprises. Federal government strengthens collaboration with relevant agencies to secure territorial integrity of Nigeria. It's nice to have you join us on NTA Network News tonight. I am Jumma Yusuf. Joining us from Lagos is Michael Olale, and Musa Abubakar is with Business News. Musa, what is happening in the world of business as of today?
Well, Jumma, equities market extend bearish sentiment to Thursday.
And indeed, we'll get to hear more about that. And Ayodeji Makinde will bring us happenings in the world of sports. Ayo, what is on the menu tonight?
Well, let's let you know that defending champions of the Nigeria Premier Football League, Rangers International, are beaten by Elsa United by a lone goal. Well,
Ayo, you give us the cocoa of the matter later on. Now, President Bola Tinubu has transmitted to the Senate proposed fiscal policy and tax reform bills for consideration and passage. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that provisions in the draft align with ongoing financial reforms of the federal government to enhance efficiency in tax administration, harmonization and compliance, as well as help reduce tax disputes.
For consideration and passage.
The four proposed legislations are the Nigeria Tax Bill, Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Bill, which seeks the repeal and reenactment of the Federal Inland Revenue Service Act, the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill, and the Nigeria Tax Administration Bill.
The proposed tax bills present substantial benefits to align with my government's objectives and fiscal reform and economic growth by enhancing taxpayer compliance, strengthening our fiscal institutions, and fostering a more effective and transparent fiscal regime, encourage investment, boost consumer spending, and stimulate the Nigerian economy.
Senate has plenary passed for second reading bill seeking the establishment of the South-South Development Commission, sponsored by Senator Asukwa Ekpenyong and other senators from the zone, as it enjoyed across-board support.
The South-South requires a commission that is exclusively dedicated to a region that understands our unique issues and can craft tailored solutions for them, just like the other 5 geopolitical regions. We are now creating not resource-based centers of development and entities, but development-based entities according to geopolitical zones.
Even though they have a Niger Delta Development Commission, which is not only serving Niger Delta alone, it serves some part of Southeast and Southwest.
The 2 Regional Development Commission bills for the Northwest and Southeast, recently assented to by President Tinubu, were today listed for amendments.
The rationale behind this amendment is to ensure that the chairman and the managing director of the commission are not appointed from the same state.
Aspect of removing the issue of confirmation by the Senate. We should always jealously guard and protect the powers of the Senate, more particularly with regard to issue of confirmation of appointments.
There were just omissions, that mandated for the fact that we are human beings.
Senate passed the 2 bills for second reading, including the Police Service Commission Training Institute Establishment Bill. Senate adopted a motion from Senator Sadiq Umar urging authorities to conduct a survey on the stretch of the River Niger to prevent boat mishaps.
The recent boat mishap that occurred in Gwajibo Mudi community involving at least 200 people, whereby only about 31 persons have been rescued so far.
Meanwhile, Senate congratulates the presiding officers of the National Assembly on the national honors conferred on them by President Tinubu. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
In the meantime, the House of Representatives has called for comprehensive review of medicine price list under the National Health Insurance Scheme for affordability and accessibility to Nigerians. National Assembly correspondent Mitere Ikpen reports that the House also received President Tinubu's communication for consideration and passage of 4 bills of fiscal and tax reforms.
Well, I trust that the House of Representatives will, in their usual expeditious manner, consider and enact these bills into law. I'm confident that these bills, once passed into law, will encourage investment, boost consumer spending, and stimulate the economy.
The House at the Committee on Supply considered and approved reimbursement of 9.5 billion naira and 15.1 billion naira to Nasarawa and Kebbi state governments for the federal government to take over airports in the 2 states under a promissory note program. In other resolutions, lawmakers draw attention to the escalating cost of pharmaceutical products in the country. They stress the need to capture quality medicines in the NHIS medicine price list, which they say requires a comprehensive review.
Many vulnerable patients, especially the marginalized section of the society, are finding it increasingly difficult to get essential and quality medication in the health management organization, leading to adverse health outcomes and exacerbating the burden of illness on our healthcare system.
A bill seeking the establishment of the Nigeria Surrogacy Regulatory Commission scaled second reading.
There's a black market or underground industry for it, and in other cases, couples are going outside the country, exposed to other unfair conditions to have it done.
The House advocates speedy trial of persons in prolonged detention in line with fundamental principles of fair hearing.
To urge the Attorney General and Minister of Justice to review cases where individuals have been held in pre-trial detention for an extended period and take necessary steps to expedite their trials.
The House has also mandated its Committee on Sports to institute a probe of the poor performance of Team Nigeria at the Paris Olympics.
2024 Paris Olympics Games came to a close with Team Nigeria returning disgracefully without a single medal, in spite of the enormous investment and preparation for the actual event.
Plenary is adjourned to Tuesday, 8th of October 2024. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Now, the federal government says it will continue to partner Enugu State to grow micro, small and medium-scale enterprises and provide a dynamic platform for economic growth and job creation. Vice President Kashim Shettima said this at the inauguration of some projects and inspection of MSME's clinic in the state. Chika Ugo has a report.
Federal government, in partnership with Enugu State government, introduced the MSME clinic to encourage small businesses. The vice president, after inspecting exhibitions at the clinic, expressed satisfaction with the acquired skills and awarded each participant the sum of 150,000 naira to assist in their businesses. He described MSME as the most viable platform to empower youths, eradicate poverty and curb crime.
This hub has the potential to produce a wide array of fashion products, from military uniforms to school and corporate wear, meeting global standards and creating about 48,000 jobs in the process.
Speaking on the theme of the 5th expanded national MSME clinic, bridging the gap between government and MSME, the governor said the clinic will inspire hope on the teeming youths and encourage economic diversification. He noted that the state government has empowered over 40,000 youths with digital skills and provided grants to business owners.
The clinics offer on-the-spot solutions for business challenges, such as regulatory approvals, access to grants, and low-interest loans.
All the top government functionaries say the move is applaudable. The vice president also inspected and inaugurated the Enugu Fashion Garment Hub, the Command and Control Center, Digital Museum at the Government House, as well as the International Conference Center in Enugu. Chika Ugu, NTA News.
The Nigerian Community Action for Resilience and Economic Stimulus, NG Cares, is restructuring its program to lift more poor and vulnerable Nigerians out of poverty, with additional $500 billion from the World Bank to further boost the initiative. This was at a two-day peer learning and experience sharing event on NG Cares, organized by the Federal Care Support Unit of the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, held in Akure, Ondo State. Olubukola Aduo reports.
In 2021, the federal government, with support from the Nigerian Governors Forum and the World Bank, launched the Nigerian Community Action for Resilience and Economic Stimulus, NG Cares. This initiative aims to support a budgeted program of expenditures and interventions at the state level, targeting existing and emerging vulnerable and poor households, agricultural value chains, and micro and small enterprises affected by the economic crisis. This fifth edition of the Zonal Peer Learning and Experience Sharing event, which drew stakeholders from 10 states and the FCT, focused on knowledge exchange, capacity building, and addressing challenges relating to financial planning, budgeting, and economic development as a way of improving on the program. National Coordinator, NG Cares, Abdul Karim Obaje said, in 3 years, over 9 million poor and vulnerable Nigerians have benefited from the program in its first phase.
Many of the beneficiaries are giving us testimonies of how the NG Cares program has impacted on them. So the purpose of this learning event, as has been repeatedly stated, is to share learning experience. What is it that we did that worked? What is it that we did that did not work? As we are preparing for NG Cares 2.0, how do we improve in terms of design?
Participants shared insights on the impact of the program and deliberated on strategies for the implementation of the next phase.
Nano businesses, micro businesses, small businesses. So we want to go in that direction.
We have a lot of people who have benefited, and this have improved their livelihood. They are no longer where we met them.
The NG Cares program, which began in 2021, is scheduled to end by December. In Akure, Olubukola Aduo, NTA News.
And as digital technologies create opportunities for nations, businesses and individuals alike, businesses in Nigeria have been challenged to take advantage of these technological developments to hasten innovation. This was the thrust of the 2024 three-day National Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Conference in Abuja, convened by the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency, SMEDAN. Muplang Dakok reports.
Nigeria's digital economy is projected to reach $18.5 billion by 2026. To support this growth, the current administration has earmarked 250 billion naira for micro, small and medium enterprises aimed at enhancing their development and competitiveness. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, reiterated the Tinubu administration's commitment to creating a sustainable environment for MSMEs to unlock their industrial potential. He also assures investors that Nigeria is open and ready for business.
Let us commit to creating an environment where our entrepreneurs can innovate, grow, and lead the way in building a prosperous future for all Nigerians.
Our role is not only to create policies that foster innovation, but to protect it and also ensure that the digital economy is inclusive, equitable, and sustainable.
The Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency, SMEDAN, introduced the initiative Grow Nigeria.
Believe that with the right guidance, the right resources, the right opportunities, and the right workforce support, any nano business can turn into a micro business, any micro business can turn into a small business, any small business can turn into a medium business, and a medium business can grow.
The significance of this conference underscores the importance of collaboration, innovation, proactive measures in addressing employment challenges.
A key thrust of the conference was simplifying the business landscape in Nigeria with digital financial services to make it as seamless as sending a WhatsApp message. In Abuja, Muplang Dakok, NTA News.
The merger between Access Pensions and ARM Pensions signals a new era for Nigeria's pension industry. Musa Abubakar reports the unveiling of the merger as Access ARM Pensions in Abuja reflects combined strength and innovation of the two largest pension managers in the country, as the company sets out to enhance pension services and investment opportunities.
From two halves to one whole, a new chapter unfolds with the merger between two financial giants, Access Pensions and ARM Pensions. This strategic consolidation marks a significant shift, promising to reshape the pension ecosystem for millions of Nigerians.
I transferred to Access Pension recently, less than 10 months, and I could see that my money is actually growing.
The merger of ARM Pensions, a long-established wealth management company, and Access Pensions, a newer but rapidly growing player under Access Bank Group, creates Nigeria's second-largest pension fund manager, with a combined assets under management of approximately 3 trillion naira and over 2 million retirement savings account holders. The merger positions the new entity as a major force in the country's pensions industry.
The decision that was made by Access Holdings when they decided to enter the space, pension space, they made a decision to be one of the top players in the industry. And the strategy was to grow by both organic and inorganic means. Inorganic meaning that in the space of 2 years, they've been able to consolidate 3 leading pension funds: First Guarantee Pension, the former Sigma Pension to form Access, and now ARM to form Access ARM. And their vision is to be the leading pension fund administrator in Nigeria.
Access ARM Pensions aims to leverage technology to provide seamless pension management. This merger highlights the importance of innovation and partnership in a rapidly changing world, offering enhanced financial security and new opportunities for retirees across Nigeria. In Abuja, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
And for more on business news, Musa is here to take it on. Hello, Musa.
Hello, Jermaine. Thank you. Oil prices rose on Thursday with all eyes on key producing countries in the Middle East and mounted concerns that a widening regional conflict could pose a threat to global crude flows. Brent crude futures were up 4.86% at $77.49 a barrel, Reuters report. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose 5.11% to $73.68. Meanwhile, U.S. gasoline futures gained more than 5% during the session. The equities market extend previous negative sentiment to Thursday as investors lose 671.2 billion naira. The all-share index shed 1.19% to close at 97,064.42 points. A total of 268 million shares in 8,565 deals corresponding to a market value of 6.8 billion naira were traded. Today's data shows that 7% decline in volume, 20% decline in turnover, and 28% decline in deals. Equity capitalization fell to 55.8 trillion naira. United Bank for Africa recorded the highest volume of 37%, or 37.1 million traded shares, followed by Zenith Bank, Deep Capital Management and Trust, and Sterling Bank. Well, let's head to global stock market, where Hong Kong stocks plunged on Thursday, snapping a 6-day winning streak as the China stimulus rally appeared to ease. Let's now see the figures.
Again. Mario. This stage calls are physically the sharper of the two teams.
Well, as business is, let's now pause for some messages. The news continues after the break.
You're watching NTA Network News. Former Executive Director Programs of the NTA, Peter Igo, has been made the National Coordinator, National Senior Citizen Center and Goodwill Ambassador of Age-Friendly Services and Elder Justice. Elizabeth Omori reports that this was at the National Media Veterans Roundtable, where professionals in the broadcast industry and entertainers were also announced as Goodwill Ambassadors to champion the cause of the older persons.
Nigeria is taking steps to address challenges faced by its aging population, which is projected to triple by 2050. The likes of Mohamed Labo, Cyril Stoba, Danla Dibako, Tony Akposheri, and Chika Opala, also known as Zebodiah, have been appointed as Goodwill Ambassadors to utilize their expertise to come up with adaptable solutions to tackle issues affecting the aged.
It is up to us, the seniors, citizens, and those behind us to see how we could partner together so that the elders could impart the knowledge and wisdom.
I'm so happily grandiose that the government has come about to think about the elderly who have contributed so much in building of this nation.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation, in his message to the gathering, emphasized that caring for the elderly aligns with the renewed hope agenda of the President, and state governments as well as families should help change the narrative around aging.
An advanced age is neither a call to redundancy nor is retirement a death sentence.
There are engagements, the infrastructure situates everybody within the context of development. Nobody left behind.
Life after 60 is not a death sentence.
Issues such as healthcare, financial inclusion, and stereotyping were raised as key areas to address. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
The role of the media in shaping the political and economic landscape has again been re-emphasized. This was at the inaugural lecture by a news agency of Nigeria, NAN, held at the Army Resource Center, Abuja, wherein the federal government reiterated its commitment to securing the territorial integrity of Nigeria, as well as sustaining collaboration with relevant agencies in curbing transborder crime in the Sahel. Mina Daniels tells us more.
Over 3,000 incidences of insurgency recorded in the Sahel in 2023 alone. The news agency of Nigeria, NAN, has thought it wise to make some noise, one intended to harness opinions to nip the ugly trend in the bud. In an inaugural lecture titled Insecurity in the Sahel, 2008 to 2024, dissecting Nigeria's challenges, genesis, impacts and options. Stakeholders identify some of the causal factors of insecurity in the Sahel and called for multi-conventional means of eradicating banditry, terrorism and trafficking within the sub-region.
In fact, the evolution of this challenge, even the definition of Sahelian countries, was informed by Nigeria's support for regionalism.
President Bola Tinubu, represented by his security advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, stated his administration's resolve to work tirelessly to protect its territorial borders.
What is going to happen? Nigeria will be, inshallah, will be protected. Nigeria will be fixed. Nigeria will be better.
Guest speaker, Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers, African Union Chief Mediator on Sudan, recognized Nigeria's efforts at bringing sanity to the Sahel, including engaging in joint multilateral task force operations and called for sustainability.
Also, that a region, just like the Sahel, including up to Nigeria and other countries that I mentioned, so rich in natural and human resources, yet is bogged down by conflict that we are unable to realize, to harness.
Has come because we're not just talking about security in Nigeria, we're talking about the whole of Sub-Sahel. I mean, the crisis of Libya spilled over into Nigeria.
The lecture was chaired by former head of state Abdul Salami Abubakar, and hosted by Minister for Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris. In Abuja, Minna Daniels, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu congratulates Leadership Newspaper Group on its 20th anniversary. He commends the media organization for its contribution to informed journalism and good governance. President Tinubu fondly remembers Sam Nda-Azaya, pharmacist, businessman, columnist, and politician who was the visionary founder and chairman of the group. He also recalls Nda-Azaya's invaluable contributions to Nigeria's vibrant media landscape. From his time as a weekly columnist at Daily Trust newspaper to founding Leadership Confidential and later establishing the Leadership Group of newspapers. President Tinubu further recognizes the critical contributions of a dedicated team, including media icon Azubuike Isekwene, the editor-in-chief. As friends, readers, and well-wishers celebrate Leadership Newspaper's two-decade milestone, President Tinubu reaffirms that his administration will continue to support journalists in performing their duties unhindered, free from threats, intimidation, or any form of inhibition in accordance with the Constitution. Now, 44,000 candidates out of a total of 67,751 persons who registered for the May-June in National Business and Technical Certificate examination scored 5 credits and above, including English and mathematics. This figure, which represents 65.34% of the candidates, shows a 7.85% decline from the 2023 performance. The acting registrar, National Business and Technical Examination Board, Nasa Asanga, disclosed this while announcing release of June-July in School Business and Technical Certificate examinations result at NAPTEP headquarters in Benin City. Jude Abugu has details.
The examination, which were conducted between 27th June and 31st July, had 67,340 candidates sitting for engineering, construction, and business trades, as well as miscellaneous and general education subjects in 1,708 centers across the 36 states of the Federation and FCT. An analysis of the results shows that while there is 24.77% increase in enrollment, the examinations recorded low performance compared to 2023 results.
44,000 candidates representing 65.34% of the total candidates who sat for the MBC-NTC examination scored 5 credits and above, including English language and mathematics. Furthermore, a total of 64,235 candidates representing 92.42% of the candidates who sat for the examinations obtained 5 credits and above with or without English language and mathematics.
The examinations also recorded 0.52% examination malpractice incidences, which is a slight increase from 0.45% recorded in 2023.
The board has continued to introduce various innovative approaches to combat examination malpractice in order to foster a culture of academic integrity while promoting authentic learning experiences.
NAPTEP has over the years carried out certifications in National Vocational Certificate, National Skills Qualifications, and Modular Trade Certificates. The acting registrar is hopeful that with appropriate legislation, establishment of more technical schools, funding, equipment, and capacity building for teachers, technical and vocational education training can be enhanced in the country. In Benin, Jude Abugu, NTA News.
And the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says Nigeria is stepping up engagement with neighboring countries and other regional and international partners to stabilize the Sahel region. He was the chief host at the maiden annual international lecture organized by the News Agency of Nigeria with the theme, Insecurity in the Sahel, Dissecting Nigeria's Challenges, Genesis, Impact, and Opinion, held in Abuja. Saliu Abdullahi Gwanara will tell us more.
Insecurity has remained a global challenge, particularly in the Sahel region. As a giant of Africa, Nigeria is sharing a long and porous border with countries in the Sahel and is increasing its security vulnerability. However, Nigeria, more than ever before, is working to turn the tide by strengthening its role on multinational joint task force and investment in equipment and manpower, as highlighted by the government's image maker.
Since his assumption of office 16 months ago, 12 aircraft have been acquired to boost the fighting capacity of our armed forces, amongst other investments in the sector. In his independence anniversary 2 days ago, the President succinctly captured the successes recorded thus, and I quote, "On the security front, I am happy to announce to you, my compatriots, that our administration is winning the war on terror and banditry. Our target is to eliminate all the threats of Boko Haram, banditry, kidnapping for ransom, and the scourge of all forms of violent extremism." End of quote. By understanding the root causes and evaluating the impact on our territorial integrity and implementing strategic policy measures, we can effectively address the challenges posed by this crisis.
He is confident that the future is assured in view of the successes being recorded in the fight against insecurity within 1 year of the current administration. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
Now let's bring you up to speed with other news. As part of measures to avert recurrence of devastating flood witnessed in recent times, Borno State government has warned citizens not to rebuild houses and other structures on the waterways. Governor Babagana Umara Zulum gave the warning in Maiduguri while addressing damages done to bridges within the state capital and environs. Mohammed Goni reports.
Zulum, alongside the State Commissioner for Works, inspected bridges within Maiduguri and environs affected by the recent flood with a view to ascertaining the extent of damage done to the structures. Governor Babagana Umara Zulum expressed concern over the level of devastation done to the bridges, saying though the flood was as a result of the collapse of Alo Dam, the magnitude of damage done was due to building of illegal structures on waterways.
But people decided to violate all rules and regulations that were established in construction of houses and other buildings. We shall very soon constitute a committee. The committee will recommend appropriate measures.
The governor directed the Ministry of Works and Borno State Geographic Information Service, as well as the flood committee, to work out modalities on how to prevent reconstruction of houses along riverbanks. State government, he said, will collaborate with federal government and the Northeast Development Commission to rebuild the bridges. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
Meanwhile, rescue operations are still ongoing in Bajibo community, Mokwa local government area of Niger State, following a boat mishap that was conveying about 300 people from Mundi community. In a statement by the Director General, Niger State Emergency Management Agency, Abdullahi Baba Ara, indicates that more than 150 people have been rescued alive and 16 corpses recovered, with scores declared missing. Governor Mohammed Umaru Bago, in a condolence, describes as unfortunate and disheartening incident. It's however added that government would redouble efforts to ensure strict compliance to safety measures to tame the increasing incidences of avoidable threats in waterways. While commiserating with the government and people of Mokwa local government area, as well as families of the victims, the governor prayed Allah to repose the souls of the departed and grant those injured quick recovery. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu sends condolences to the government and people of Niger State over a boat accident which occurred Tuesday night at Mokwa local government area. The boat, which was said to be carrying about 300 people, primarily women and children, was sailing on the Bajibo River from the Mundi community when it capsized. While at least 150 people were rescued from the scene, 25 bodies have so far been recovered. President Tinubu commiserates with families of victims and prays for repose of souls of the deceased. The president directs the National Inland Waterways Authority to investigate the spate of boat accidents in Niger State and across the country and devise modalities to check the trend. He orders NIWA to expand the scope of its surveillance of inland waters to ensure people's safety and prosecute boat operators violating the ban on night sailing. Time now to bring in Michael Olale, who has reports from that axis. Hello, Michael.
Thank you, Jumai. The federal government says the signing of a new bilateral air service agreement with the United Arab Emirates, UAE, will not only secure more routes for indigenous airlines to compete favorably, but will grant right of forced refusal to Nigeria operators when code-sharing. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, stated this when reacting to the return of a major UAE carrier to Nigeria after 2 years. It's been 2 years since Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates disagreed on specific air service agreements bordering on visa and flight suspension, and since resolution was reached on issuance of visa to Nigerians, both countries have been working to smoothen bilateral ties, lifting ban on flight operations. And now that this has been achieved, the minister said securing the return of the major UAE carrier to Nigeria is in the interest of the country, the indigenous operators, and enhancing competitiveness in the global aviation markets.
We are also free to fly to any airports in the UAE. I'm sure you know, without mentioning an airline, when this was suspended, I'm sure you know that some other airlines reaped the benefits. Many of them increased their frequencies to Nigeria. Many of them increased their prices because the seats were now available, flights were now available, and all of that. But you also know that why we fought for this is to ensure healthy competition, and healthy competition leads to competitive prices for the benefit of the Nigerian people.
The minister said the fastest direction to implementing the Cape Town Convention, as identified by this administration, is opening up the aviation industry in Nigeria, which invariably is increasing the country's compliance index and boosting the confidence of investors. Nigeria's journey to nationhood is a story of the emergence of a beacon of hope for the African continent and the black race due to the enormous resources. With the First and Second Republics providing ample opportunity to lay a foundation for the economic and political development of Nigeria, stakeholders believe replicating the developmental templates of the nation's founding fathers will address some of the challenges bedeviling the nation. Jack Popola reports.
Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand, a popular line in the first stanza of Nigeria's national anthem speaks to national unity and efforts of the nation's founding fathers in forging an alliance which served as a springboard that catapulted Nigeria to vantage points among the Committee of Nations during the First Republic. The success stories of the nation's heroes hinged on patriotism and selfless service is an ideology that still resonates till date and should be imbibed.
The promise is how we can truly build a very resilient democracy where all the diversity of our country can find a place and a meaning and help to move Africa ahead.
Nigeria, just like other nations, is still work in progress, and respondents believe the hope of arriving at the expected destination is in sight.
Developed countries around the world, it took them a century and a half to get to where they're going. So at 64, I think we are still on that journey. A couple of missteps, but we'll find a way back. And I think that sense of nationhood should be collective.
For religious leaders, prayers for the nation is just as important as its unity, which is not negotiable.
Both Hausa, Igbo, Yorubas will be living in good deeds.
And not think will stop God from doing the right thing for us. We
We individually will contribute our quota by trusting God and doing what is right.
The journey to nationhood, respondents unanimously agreed, requires sacrifice from both the leaders and followers. In Lagos, Joel Bukbola, NTA News.
Those are the stories from Lagos. Network News continues in Abuja after this break. Do stay.
This is NTA Network News. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it is yet to officially hand over voter register to the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission for the October 5th local government election in the state. INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner Johnson Alalibo disclosed this to journalists in Port Harcourt. Robinson Deratide has the details.
Rivers State local government election scheduled for Saturday 5th October has been facing challenges and legal obstructions. The latest is the disclosure by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, that although the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RISEC, has applied twice for a copy of the voter register, it was not released due to administrative constraints before a court order in Abuja further stopped them from releasing it.
The RISEC has written to us about 2 times for release of register, but we have not released before we received from our headquarters an order from Federal High Court restraining INEC from releasing the register. So up to now, we have not officially handed over the Rivers State voters register to the RISEC. We have not.
Resident Electoral Commissioner of INEC also comments on which of the conflicting court orders the commission will obey.
I have that of the Federal High Court from Abuja, which was sent to me by my headquarters, directing me to comply with the court order.
The various political and legal permutations have left residents in suspense ahead of the local government election scheduled to hold on Saturday. Robinson Darateide, NTA News.
We'll be right back. It's now time to join Ayodeji Makinde for the juiciest news from the world of sports. Let's get it.
Oh yes, sir. Let's begin with the cocoa that you mentioned at the beginning of the news, which is in the Nigeria Premier Football League, where defending champions Rangers International moved up to 7th on the log after the beat Bayelsa United by a lone goal. Isaac Xavier scored the only goal in the 70th minute at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Stadium as the Flying Antelopes build up momentum towards winning a treble at the end of the season. Rangers trail leaders Remo Stars by 5 points after 4 match days. Ahead of the Nigeria Nationwide League Super 8 Championship in November, collaborations with stakeholders are underway to use the tournaments as a platform to address unemployment in the country. Chairman of the board of the Nationwide League and Director General, National Directorate of Employment, Silas Agara, in an exclusive interview with the NTA, assures an improved level of competition and exploring the windows of opportunity football has, including creating newer jobs in line with the presidential priority of reducing unemployment figures in the country.
The youth are mostly affected, but sport is one big industry that can address our unemployment challenges. And so with a very good synergy between the industry and the ND, I think the youth stand to benefit more.
Nigeria Nationwide League is the largest tier of league football in the country after the professional and the national leagues. Away from Nigeria, Nigeria's under-17 women's team, the Flamingos, are in Dominican Republic ahead of the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup from October 16 to November 3. Coach Bankole Oluwokere, 21 players and officials arrived Santo Domingo Thursday afternoon, where they're expected to train for 2 weeks. Nigeria is drawn in Group A with host country Dominican Republic, Ecuador, and New Zealand. And that's your sports. It's back to Jumbai.
Thank you, Ayo Deji. So much happening in the world of sport. Let's take our weather update for today and tomorrow.
Hello, you're welcome. We have good prospects of rains for Friday. We expect rains within 30 millimeters and slightly above over parts of Taraba, southern parts of Adamawa, the fringes of Benue State, southern Plateau, Nasarawa, the Federal Capital Territory, Kaduna, Niger, and much of Kwara State. That prospect is there too. Edo, parts of Ondo and Delta, and the coastal parts of the southeast, including the boundary areas of Kogi, Enugu, and Anambra State. Over the extreme northwest especially, we expect the rains not to be that much, but we expect them to come with very strong winds. I leave with the forecast about other parts of the country.
That's the weather update for tomorrow. Remember, don't leave your home without your umbrella. I am Juma Yusuf. Thanks for watching.